Millville work session for February 21st, 2017. The approximate time is 4:05. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mayor Santiago?
Here.
Commissioner Ennis?
Here.
Commissioner Davis?
Here.
Commissioner Praka-Compare?
Here.
Commissioner Sui?
Here.
Can we all stand, please, and salute the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. This meeting is being conducted in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act of 1975, was advertised, posted, and made available to the public as required by law. The municipal clerk is directed to include a statement in the minutes of this meeting. Madam Clerk, are there any review changes to the agenda?
No, Mayor.
Thank you. Now go to public comment on agenda items only. Anyone that would like to make a comment on the agenda item, please step up to the mic, state your name, your concerns, and limit your comments to 5 minutes, please. Seeing no one, I close the public comment portion of this meeting. We'll go right into old business. Madam Clerk?
All right. First item is a redevelopment project discussion with Eric Wolf.
Mr. Wolf?
Do you want me to use this?
You can use that, that's fine.
Okay. I'm Eric Wolf, and I'm here with my partners Drew Burley and Ted Fiore, and we're here to talk about a project that we are in the early stages of undertaking regarding the conversion of 2 properties, the Country Inn Hotel and the Paper Waiter Restaurant that are adjoining properties, and converting them into an affordable assisted living facility.
Mr. Wolf, can you give us the name of your business and the address too, please?
Sure. Village Drive LLC, and the address is care of 15 Stratton Road, Scarsdale, New York, 10583.
Great, thank you.
Okay. And so just by way of introductions, I am by training a lawyer and banker, and have been a developer in Yonkers, New York for the last 10 years, where we have upwards of 500 units either built or planned. And in that effort, I've been partnering with Drew Barilli, and I'll let Drew introduce himself and give a little bit of his background.
First of all, thank you for having us. My name is Drew Barilli. I'm currently the chairman of Seawinds Properties and the CEO of Ashore Property Management. I've been operating healthcare facilities, skilled nursing facilities, assisted living facilities, adult daycare, home health care in the state of New Jersey for approximately 17 years. I'm with Eric right now as a partner in several multifamily deals. By training, I'm an industrial psychologist, educated at Loyola and Johns Hopkins University, Baltimore, Maryland. Thank you. Ted? Kevin?
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thanks again for having us. I'm Ted Fiore, and I'm also here representing my brother Kevin Fiore, who's partners with Eric on this project and some other projects as well. I was in the financial services industry for 25 years, a lawyer, an MBA, and I now work with Keller Williams and with my brother Kevin to locate properties specifically in New Jersey for the development of the affordable assisted living facilities. My brother is currently, his company, Carding Group, has completed or closed on 14 affordable assisted living facilities throughout the United States, and this will be the first one collectively with Eric and Drew that we're looking to do in the state of New Jersey. Thank you.
So we're going to walk through the presentation we put together, and to the extent you have questions or comments, please feel free to chime in at any point. So on the cover of the presentation is a picture of the hotel as it exists today. We anticipate that the exterior will remain largely the same, although we do anticipate an addition, likely addition of 10,000-foot footprint, 2 or 3 stories, most likely 3 stories to it. If you turn it to the second page, we wanted to give you a sense of what the quality of the facility would look like. So this is not a private pay facility. This is exactly the kind of facility that we would be building with the same financing structure. And as you can see, it's quite nice. It's a very high-end facility. If you turn to the next page, this gives you a sense of what it is we're planning and where it is. The area shaded in blue are the two lots. The lower lot is the Country Inn. The upper lot is the restaurant. And they are, for all intents and purposes, they're connected physically by a hallway. So again, from an exterior perspective, outside of this one addition that we would be making to the facility, we would not be changing the footprint of the existing facility at all. We would be rehabilitating the restaurant, which is now dilapidated, and then with respect to the hotel, it would be a conversion. So again, primarily internal work. We may change the skin of the building, but that would be about the extent of it.
And then you were looking at the Heritage House also, or
No.
you're not going to do that
No,
now?
we hadn't been looking at that. I mean, we're open to it if, you know,
Okay.
so we hadn't had discussions around that, but I can talk to you about that later
Okay.
and see what your ideas are there. So on the next page, just to give you a sense, the hotel units themselves are not large, and we had our architect walk the building with us and gave us a rendering of what a typical unit would look like. So you would enter, you'd have an accessible bathroom, and then the bed with a small kitchenette facility, and then a living area. Turning to the next page, we think there are a number of strong benefits that accrue to the city. We're going to build approximately 150 beds. The residential community is a community that is unable to afford private pay, self-pay, so there'll be Medicaid residents, moderate and lower income residents. Typically, one of these facilities creates 50 full-time jobs and fairly good paying jobs. The payroll we anticipate would be over $1 million. And again, it's an adaptive reuse of the existing hotel, and more importantly, it's also a rehabilitation of what has been a long abandoned site in the restaurant. The restaurant itself would be converted into the dining facility, amenity space for the assisted living facility. It would also provide space for an adult medical daycare. There's not going to be a drain on the schools, obviously. We would contemplate, in fact, the opposite of a drain on the schools. We would contemplate perhaps a way of integrating with some of the schools, intergenerational programming, providing some space for some of the school kids to come over, and whether it's reading with elderly or learning with elderly, it might be a good use of that space. And then finally, institutional investment in the community. The financing for this project is provided or will come from some large institutionals, whether it's lenders or tax credit investors. I'm not at liberty to say who, but they're large household names that you recognize. As we move forward, we'll be in a position to disclose who that would be. So, on to the next page. And again, just a note, the photograph here with the fireplace and the sort of nice setting, that is a facility that is exactly the kind of financing structure that we're looking at here with the same kind of, with the same population. And so it would be financed with low-income housing tax credits that we would sell through a syndicator. And we have a very good sense of who the buyer of those credits would be. Again, large household name financial entity. and then tax exempt bonds that would be purchased by typically a lending institution. And through Ted's brother Kevin, we have deep relationships with those institutions. The focus would be on the frail elderly, veterans with disabilities, and what's quite beneficial to the state is that it shifts a population from skilled nursing facilities that doesn't need to be in a skilled nursing facility to this lower level of care that's more appropriate for that population, saving the state approximately 65% per resident. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Drew and Ted to talk a little bit about their backgrounds a little more. I guess Ted will speak for his brother Kevin.
Well, first let me ask you, does anybody have any questions at this point?
How did you hear about us?
Well, actually, I've operated buildings in southern Jersey. The closest one to was Hamilton, which was a 240-unit skilled nursing facility under the name Innova, I-N-N-O-V-A. Operated in Deptford, operated in Mount Laurel, had a number of adult daycare properties here too as well in the area. It's just through coincidence that we were looking in this area as an area for potential development, given there's a lack of infrastructure for this type of product in this market. And Eric happened to find one of the brokers, a local broker, Eagle, Petruzzi.
Yep,
Tony Petruzzi. And he helped us zero it in on abandoned hotel properties. This is not a new construction type of financing capacity type product. So it's typically we need to find some form of infrastructure, construction infrastructure to either redevelop or rehab in order to make it more feasible, given that this is a 90% Medicaid population in the building. This isn't a high-end developer's private dream, private pay assisted living. This is actually a kind of using all the experience that you've had in 25 years of operations to bring something like this to bear. Clearly, I'm a resident of New Jersey, very familiar with some of the low-income issues that are facing some of the townships right now. And so this process was that this marketplace, particularly Cumberland and Atlantic counties, could benefit from this type of product. Any other questions?
And does the affordable housing, the credits for that goes towards
Yes.
what we need to do for affordable
Yes.
housing in Millville?
Yes.
It qualifies as affordable housing. And the affordable housing credits, just to, and again, if I'm telling you something you know, let me know, but it's a federal program. So the state allocates private activity bonds to the project, and then those, as of right, trigger what are called 4% low-income housing tax credits that are allocated to the project and then sold to an institutional investor. It's that capital that provides the non-debt portion of the capital stack for the project. Sure.
Yes, first I want to commend you for your endeavor to potentially bring this sort of project to the city of Millville. I think it's necessary. I'm an advocate for affordable housing. But I have a couple of questions because I'm looking at some of the wording as far as your target audience. And I'm looking at the elderly, frail elderly, to be correct. And then we talk about veterans, which I think is a wonderful thing. One of the concerns that I have is oftentimes these facilities become integrated with persons of disabilities from a plethora of issues. And sometimes it becomes quite difficult to manage. So I'm wondering, within your organization, are you bringing security? Because a lot of these organizations are doing that. They're actually providing security, whether it be through camera or whether it be through someone who's actually paid to be on the premises. Because again, you're talking moderate and lower income residents, but of course, I'm sure whomever would reside there would want to have the assurance of having the same security that an individual living in an upper scale community would want to have.
Well, let me address it this way. in the state of New Jersey, through the Department of Health, we're going to be required to apply for a certificate of need and then apply for a license in order to operate this facility. By virtue of that license designates to a significant degree the type of people that we can actually bring into the building. So to assuage some of your concern, by license, we're really largely only going to be focused on the frail elderly requiring assistance with activities of daily living and instrumental activities of daily living. There is not going to be a portion of developmentally disabled or other qualifications that might not fit under the licensure category. Veterans, however, do fall under the category based on disability, a permanent physical disability, or closed head trauma, those types of things, which we require them to be assisted with feeding, helped with bathing, those types of things.
I see.
So by virtue of the type of people that you're going to come in, you're not going to have people that are going to be so healthy that they're going to cause a criminal issue in any way, shape, or form. But to further assuage your concern, yes, we always have security in all our buildings. The building's manned 24 hours a day. There's ground security, all the safety policies and procedures that you would be required in a facility of this type of nature, as requested and mandated by the Department of Health, would be installed. Full sprinklerization, which currently the hotel currently has, 24-hour staffing, licensed nursing staffing, licensed medical director, physician medical director, all the safety policies and procedures that you would have to have for an institutional setting.
I see. And your security would be at no cost to the taxpayers?
No,
of the city
it
of Millville?
completely
Okay.
comes out of our
It's
pocket.
in the budget.
Wonderful.
Right.
Would your licensure include disabilities such as drug addiction, alcoholics, stuff like that that's now covered that previously wasn't?
Typically not. Only if they were 85 years old and had a dependency, whether it be to a benzodiazepine or something like that, and their physician wanted to get them off. But typically at that stage in life, the physician has any interest in trying to do that from a
Okay.
health benefit perspective.
Thank you.
Is that for veterans also?
Yes, sir.
Or that- It's long distance, Texas.
It's a sales call.
Is that you, Marcy, calling? Oh,
Oh.
do you have a question?
It's a rate, yeah, you're a rateable. You would
Yes.
pay taxes, yeah.
Absolutely.
Now she smiles. That's our CFO, that's where that question
Good
came
question,
from.
Marcy.
Yes, the economic benefit to you is,
Yeah.
it certainly goes to COA, it goes to your foundational base in terms of your rateability. And again, I don't know if, a lot of people have concerns about this type of product, but, it does create more than 50 permanent jobs. There's a significant number of part-time jobs that are created too as well. I would say anywhere from, maybe 100 to 125 part-time jobs. So and the building's currently, the way it's situated from a land use perspective in terms of the parking space and all those types of things, it's all ready to go. So we're not going to be encroaching on anybody else's space. We're not going to be adding any more traffic in any way, shape, or form. It's not like we're bringing in trucks or anything other than what's already currently running through that part of the town for food delivery and flatware delivery, and that's it. No different than what the hotel does.
Right. Oh, you have great access there.
Yes,
55.
Yes.
Absolutely. Awesome.
yes.
Yeah.
Any questions, commissioners?
You have here, though, you said reuse of existing hotel, abandoned restaurant / catering hall, but you're not doing the catering hall now?
No, that, we are doing the catering
Oh,
hall.
okay. I was calling it-
It
okay.
won't be rehabilitated as a catering hall.
No,
It'll be rehabilitated for adult medical daycare.
so it would take the whole complex there
Yes.
then? Okay.
Oh, is that-
That's the Heritage House, that's what I
Okay, I
was confused.
didn't
I'm
understand,
sorry.
'cause I
Well, it's
hadn't
got
heard of
40
that.
names, so we
Yes,
haven't
I'm
figured
sorry.
out.
No,
Just
that's
whatever
fine.
one you want to
And
call it is what
I
we'll
forgot
call
you're
it.
not from Millville, so,
Right.
so that's
It's called the
why
Painted Waiter.
I had never heard of the Heritage House, that's why. I
Right, so
wasn't-
that's what, that's
No, there
my
is a
confusion,
sign there
'cause
that
I was
actually
thinking-
does say Heritage House,
missed
but
that.
somebody painted
I
over
didn't
it
make it
and they
right.
put the Painted Veil or the Painted Waiter.
The paperweight.
Paperweight. And then there
Okay.
was another name too.
Because I think the
I know it's the
paper waiter was the
paperweight.
hotel, was the cafeteria, the eating area proper, and then the separate was the.
We are going to
So
donate the
we are using
jukebox.
that whole.
Okay, so that's where my confusion,
So
because I was
apologies,
thinking.
I didn't
okay.
realize that that was there.
We are going to donate the jukebox that's there now to the town. It is a classic jukebox. Somebody should have it, really.
Put it up here somewhere,
Right.
play music during our meetings.
It'd be a good idea.
Good music.
Some really good music.
Can we do that, Brock?
Yeah.
All right,
In between the meetings.
got it. We'll take it.
Well, we want to overlook.
Any other questions?
Okay.
Anything more in the way of background, in terms of operational capacity, in terms of education, anything in terms of capacity to develop, success in developing these types of products, anything like that?
I mean, when I heard about it, I think it's a great project. It'll help Wheaton Village too, or Wheaton Arts, because they've been holding the Heritage House for years now.
Paper waiter.
The
Well,
hall,
now,
right? The
Right.
hall,
The new place.
we'll just call it the facility.
the facility,
Well,
yes.
that's
So,
nice.
We'll give it it has a certain ring to it.
Village Drive.
so it will benefit them because they've been carrying that burden, and I know that's been a drain on them. And I think it's a good use for that area,
And it'll
With
give
the
them
preschool
some
there.
capital as well once they sell it. So.
and jobs.
Any other questions? Anything else, gentlemen?
No, sir.
Thank you. Just thank
Thank
you
you.
for having
Thank
us
you.
in. We
Thank you.
appreciate your time and
Appreciate it. Thank
your
you for
So-
making
and your
the
guidance
trip.
going forward.
And I
Thank
guess
you.
the next step as you move forward would be to go before the planning board, or zoning.
Right, we're actually in diligence right now, and we are going through the steps methodically, including getting a survey done, getting our architectural plans. We've already met with land use council, and so we'll be in to determine how we address zoning, and then go from there.
So what are we looking at,
I'm sorry.
project-wise?
To
What
the
do you
day
think?
it opens,
Well,
or
no,
in terms
just-
of dollars?
No, start, when are you gonna start? When do you think you're gonna be able to start? What's the
Probably construction in a year,
year? Okay.
depending
The-
on approval.
Right, the time, the sort of the long pole in the tent on timing is, it's really securing the financing from the state, an
Okay.
allocation of the bonds. So, that's really what's gonna take time.
Okay.
Mr. Malley have a comment?
Just to dovetail this is the process, we met last week, and so part
Jim,
of
can you give us your name and,
I'm sorry, Jim Malley, Redevelopment Council citizen.
thank you, sir.
So we met last week, and as they go through their process in fine tuning the concept and the design, we will work with them in terms of trying to come up with an amendment to the redevelopment plan so that you will cater and adjust the zoning in order so that they would be coming in upright. That'll give you the control to go over what that zoning would be,
Okay.
how this will look, the shape of the project, all of that, and review everything along the way with them to make sure that when they come in, it's not a process, it's an accelerated process for them to get in and go through their approvals.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
From our perspective, the old lawyers saw applies. We like to know the answer before we ask the question, so we'll be working all along to make sure you're comfortable
Okay.
with what we're doing.
Any other questions? Well, we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
very much.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Copies? Sure, you get mine. No, it does not.
There was in
The last page, I think, has.
I think it did have some names. Yeah, your names are in the back.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, commissioners, again.
Take care.
You're welcome. Have a safe trip home.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving along here, discussion of commissioners. Commissioner Davis. Nothing. Commissioner Sui.
Yeah, we got a lot of, inquiries, complaints about trash pickup on certain holidays. So we'll post it on the web. I have a bunch of handouts. If anybody wants them after tonight, we'll put them downstairs on the third floor. If anybody comes in and makes an inquiry.
We're not picking up on holidays.
No. So, there's 6 that we do not pick up on. The rest of them we do, and, even I forgot to put my trash out this morning, so I'm making a trip to this dump.
All right.
All right, other than that, we're picking up brush now. The street sweeper's back up and running, and the camera's been installed for tickets to be issued for parking violators. New storm plate's been installed at 9th and Vine. The rest of the steel plates were placed over the holes at the Wheaton factory. The salt building's complete with the exception of the floor. And we're having problems with the, not problems, issues with the asphalt plants. We're getting the proper asphalt that actually stays in the pothole. So as the weather straightens out, that's just, I don't know, seasonal problem, I guess.
Mhm.
And the 10th and F Street basin, the new basin grate and material has been ordered for that. And I guess we also gave a copy of this to the newspaper if they choose to publish it. Got that, Joe? Just in case. In progress.
Commissioner Ennis?
Mayor, nothing at this time.
Commissioner Perry?
Mike, I forgot the engineer.
Oh, you want to do the
Okay,
engineer's
go ahead,
report?
Commissioner, we'll get to him right after.
I had, so I'll ask those questions then. Okay, we're going to introduce the budget tonight, so I don't know, Marcy, any comments about the budget? I mean, it's a great budget this year, very proud of it.
Yep, that's basically what I wanted to say. No tax increase. Our fund balance is good. It's actually down from last year, so that's always good. And a lot of it has to do with retirements, attrition, for the payroll cost. And our insurance didn't go up as much as I originally thought it was going to go up. So and our revenue was up. The fifth floor brought in an additional $400,000. So everything's good.
Great, thank you. Anything else, Commissioner?
I'm sorry, oh, and, yeah,
That's
and
my advice.
you wanted to talk about something, correct, too? Yes. So I guess, go ahead, Regina.
I just wanted the commissioners all on board. We're going to do we had a company come in named Spyglass, and they actually come in and they review your phone bill. And they don't review it to change the provider and say that, AT&T is cheaper than Verizon. This is just the telephone bill for the city landlines. And what they do is, the bill's a lot more complicated if you haven't seen it. We have a lot of trunk lines. We have a lot of alarms with the water and sewer plant. They come in and they review the bill. It's a free audit. They review it from top to bottom, and they suggest things that they advise you of things that you're paying for you shouldn't be paying for, things you could remove to lessen the bill. It's all advisement, and when it's done, they give you a report. At that point, if you wish them to implement it, there are costs. 50% of the cost recovery for anything we're being billed for that they say we shouldn't be billed for, so on and so forth. But what I'm asking for right now is just an agreement to sign it's a one-page agreement, but it's basically sign and say, yes, you can do the audit. I just didn't want them coming in to do an audit without the commission being aware of it.
Commissioner Ennis?
No comment.
Commissioner Davis?
That sounds like a winner to me.
Yeah, anything that reduces costs.
This seems like a no-brainer at this point, whether we sign on to it
Yep.
later is certainly open
Yep.
for discussion, but for them to look for no cost is.
The one thing
why
I
not?
want to, I don't know if I understood this right. So let's say they find something that we shouldn't be paying for, but we're paying for it, right? And then, so then they would.
There's two options. You
Okay.
can take the list and say thank you and do it yourself,
Okay,
or they can do it and they get 50% of the cost recovery.
so
There's-
we would pay them 50% of what we were paying.
Well,
Of what we
are-
get back.
Of
Right.
what we get back.
Right, of what
Okay.
we get back. That's for cost recovery. That's things we
Got it.
charge or should be charged.
Okay.
There's other things where they tell you can remove, you're not using this, you're not using that. Then they want, it's 12 months moving forward of the plan. So in other words, if you were paying $15 a month, they want $15 a month for the next 12 months because they removed it from your plan.
Okay.
It's all optional. You can take the report and say thank you, and they can walk away, and you can attempt to do it yourself.
Okay.
It's just that this is just the initial part. We won't move forward with anything without reporting back to the commission.
I have no problems with that.
And then, Regina, I know you have the P cards. I don't know if you want to
The
explain
P
that.
card,
'cause
and
we're
I
gonna
want
be
to talk
voting
about
on
the
that.
fuel gas cards. The P cards are on the agenda for the commission meeting tonight. P cards are what the state of New Jersey allows purchasing agents to use because we're not supposed to use credit cards. And up till now, we've always used purchase orders. It's only been our option. We're running into a lot of problems now. One of the classic problems is to buy an app for an iPad. You have to buy it online. You can't go to the iPad
Right.
store.
Right.
What we're doing right now is employees are buying them or reimbursing them. It's not the best way to do finance. So P cards are an option you have. You can control it to the amount you want. You can give every employee a P card, or you can give 2 employees a P card. I'm hesitant. I've spoke with Marcy. The way the P card system works, the administrator, the CFO, and the purchasing agent need to be trained by the state. It's a state card. How to use it, how to set the program up. Once those 3 people are trained, you then roll the program out. Our recommendation is just to roll it out to maybe 3 cards, where the CFO would have a card, someone in engineering, public works would have a card, and there may be a 3rd card with the administrator. And we would control it and only do online purchases, and sometimes online you can see a product that's a lot cheaper, but they won't take a purchase order. So we would be very selective in the beginning. If we find, and what happens is when they purchase it, you set parameters, like a plumber can only go in and buy pipe, they can't go in and buy electrical switches. Like if we were to roll it out completely. The next morning when the purchasing agent walks in, it all comes up on the system. You see what was bought the day before, it automatically rolls into purchase orders, and the check is prepared at the end of the month. It's all automatic in the admin system. I'm still hesitant. I'm not 100% on board. County uses it. County loves it. I know that. We're going to get it here because we need it, if not just for online purchases. If it works, and it seems to be.
Is there a fee? Is there a fee for this?
Now, there's a 1%. I believe it's 1%. I don't know if the state has changed their contract. When I looked at it before, the rebate. There's no fee. Bank of America is it's FIA card is actually, but I think it's part of Bank of America. It's free. You get the card, and then you get 1% rebate on the card. It was 1%. I can't guarantee that. I have to check. But this is to actually start to move forward to get the training and agreement with the state.
So all that we're doing with this is saying that you're going to go for the training, 3 of you.
Right.
And then we'll go from there every step of the way.
Every step of the way.
Okay.
And that's the P cards, and a lot of people were a little confused. I think they thought that was the gasoline cards, which is what we spoke about last week. There seems to be some difference of opinion on how we should move forward with the gas cards. I have a situation, we spend about $170,000 a year on gas. That includes diesel fuel, which is not purchased on the credit card, so let's say maybe it's $150,000. Even if I split it out and public safety stands alone and the rest of the city stands alone, both of the contracts would be over $40,000. So any decision that's made on how we move forward with contracts for gasoline cards would have to be a decision at the commission level. Department head, purchasing agent can't make it because it's over $40,000. If public safety were to decide that they felt it was best for the public safety to have the credit card from the National Co-op, which we spoke about last week, they would have to come before the commission and get that approved, and we would just move forward. You have to advertise 10 days before you award the project, and you have to do a resolution to join the co-op. On the flip side, if the rest of the city were to decide that we should go out to bid like we have in the past, and we have a contract now with Riggins, I do need to know whether we're going for the whole city or part of the city, because when I go out for the bid spec, you sort of have to give them an idea of the volume of gas you're using. So I need direction from the commission how you'd like to move forward with this.
Well, in my opinion, the police department is who uses the most gas.
I would assume it's
24-hour
probably
service.
60-40, I'm thinking. I'd probably 70-30 maybe.
And I think it's beneficial to them. Not only do we go to get the cheapest gas in the city, it also gives us money back that we can use in our budget. And that's what I'm standing on.
I thought that we had left it at the last meeting that we were going to get more figures from Riggins.
Well, we were
and
going to have to go
double-check
out to bid to see what they came back. Last year, they gave us 5 cents per gallon in the last contract we had.
Well, there's 2 things there. First of all, if they're giving us 5 cents a gallon, the other company gives us a cent a gallon, then you're looking at gas is going to have to be roughly $5 a gallon for that to break even if it stays the same. Now, if it's cheaper to go to the gas card, then we ought to do it for the whole city. Whatever way is cheaper is the way we ought to
We won't know
go.
unless we go out to bid.
So in my opinion, we should go out to bid to see where we get the best deal. And then wherever we get the best deal, there's only 3 different gas stations in town. Wawa, Riggins, with Texaco, or Chevron, or 4. And one more on 2nd Street.
4 or 5.
I mean, there's 5, but 4 different companies.
Right.
So it's not like we have 20 gas stations to choose from. So I think we ought to go out for bid for everything and see which way it works out better for us, where we get the better savings.
Anybody else?
I agree, go out to bid.
I
Go
don't.
out to bid?
I don't.
If you don't go out to bid, then you don't know what you're dealing with. You don't know if it's a better deal or not until you go to bid, because right now, 5 cents a gallon savings is a better deal. So it's going to cost more money to go with the new system. Right, if you get 2
You may not
cents a
get it this
gallon,
time.
then
Yeah,
that
then
is
maybe.
going to be a much better deal. So you don't know unless you see what the deal is.
Okay.
But if you already have proof that it's going to save substantially, to my understanding. This is what Commissioner Davis presented several weeks ago, am I correct?
Well, we don't really have proof. I think he was supposed to give us the numbers.
Right. We never got the
I think we agreed last
comparison.
meeting that he was gonna look at the gas bills for a month and then compare what the savings would be to his company. And I haven't heard
I thought we
anything
had
about it.
those last time.
No.
I thought he
Well,
did.
I mean, I looked at it's 5 cents a gallon. The problem is you have to go back. When we get the bill, we don't know what the retail price was on it. I mean, I don't know what the retail price is on the 12th of February when I get the bill on March 1st.
Right.
They're taking all the taxes off and then discounting an additional 5 cents. That's the contract. Whether or not that's actually what's happening, I'd have to go back and,
Well, can't you ask Riggins to send you a report? I would think they would be able to give you a
I
report.
can, and if they're not giving us the contract, then they're not abiding by the contract, and then it's gonna become a solicitor problem. But I will get it for them. But the problem moving forward is, we're out of contract. And right now, we're still getting the 5 cents, but are they gonna bid 5 cents when we go out and ask for another bid
There's only one
proposal?
way to find out.
Is to go out
Go
to bid.
out.
They put it to bid.
Go ahead. I'm
Oh,
okay.
she wants to know what the consensus is, I guess.
Well, I've got 2, 1,
Oh, yeah, you might as well just go out to bid and
okay.
look at the numbers.
Okay.
You know,
All right.
without the facts, it's not doing
Okay.
something good.
Now, do you want the resolution added tonight, so I can get the public
Yes.
Yes.
notice on, so we get
Yes.
moving forward on it?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Everybody's okay with that? Put the public notice on? Okay. Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
The only other thing, in light of recent developments, I would like us to look at the personnel ordinance again. There's just been too much and a lot of different things. I just want to make sure now that there's just been several incidents lately, that everything's covered under the personnel ordinance.
You want to get more specific?
I don't know if I can get more specific, but I guess, Brock, you would work with us on that?
Yeah, if I know I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Okay. The recent breach, all the lawsuits against commissioners, I don't know, what else is there in there?
Well, I don't know, you're talking about that. What was set up to be a shield was turned into a weapon for the employees.
Yeah, so I think there needs to be some changes.
There's
I wanna-
also, I wasn't involved when they merged them. There's a couple minor things that weren't merged that I've picked up on, I could tell you about.
So that we need to do, and then maybe something about confidentiality in there.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
they were my
agree.
3 issues.
I agree with you. Matter of fact, I, for one, was totally against moving forward quickly as we did. But I knew there was insurance issues and we had to come into compliance on some matters. But I think we moved a little too fast, and we need to revisit. I think it's essential. It's important that we revisit that policy because there's things in there that concern me that not only during my term, but I always think about Millville not just while I'm here, but I always think about after I'm gone. I want to make sure that we've done things the right way. And so I agree with you, Commissioner, that we need to revisit that personnel policy because there's things that are definitely of a concern in nature to me.
All right, so if all the commissioners, I guess, put what their concerns are, and then at the next work session, we can discuss that.
Either that or even email the specs to me and I can check the personnel policy and try to get the parts you want to work on so we can start to do it. Whichever
Which
way
way's
you want.
quicker and easier?
Well, if everybody knows their specific thing, I can at least get that and put it in one package, so we're not looking
All right,
at a
so we should
60-page
email it-
document.
So we should
And we
email
only
it to
need to look at
you
12 pages, right.
before the next meeting.
Right. And I can get together the parts we have issues with or the parts we need to add, and then we're only looking at 10 or 12 pages instead of 60 pages.
How many weeks before that? Is there 2 weeks or 3 weeks before the
No,
next
I think
meeting?
this might be the 3-week one.
Yeah.
I think the first is
This is a
Wednesday.
3-week?
21st, so
So
we're
we-
in
It's a short
March.
month, though. It's only 10 days.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's the 3-week
I
one.
can look real quick.
Because then, for you to have that ready for the meeting, then we need to give you 3 or 4 days, right?
Well, it probably wouldn't be ready to be adopted at the first meeting.
No, but if we wanted to
The
discuss it
discussion.
at the work session.
If you get it to me quickly, I can get enough together to get some kind of discussion. I mean, you can't be giving it to me on Monday for Tuesday's
That's what I'm
meeting,
saying, so
but,
that's
you know.
what I'm trying to
I
figure
need
out.
3 or 4
Which meeting
days.
you want?
3 or 4 days. I mean, if I have the weekend, I'll be fine.
Come on.
If I get it
I
the
know
Friday
you can
before,
do
I'll
it.
be fine.
Well, I obviously have an idea what I want. You have an idea, apparently Commissioner Ennis, you have an idea what you want done, so
And Regina, you know.
we should be able
Yeah.
to get it to her within a week, I would
So
think.
by the,
Right.
if we get to the 20th.
As long as I have it before the weekend, I'll be all right, the weekend
Okay.
meeting, so.
Okay.
Sure, spend your weekend doing that. That's great.
That's usually the best time, quiet time.
Okay, that was all. Thank you.
I think the next meeting will be March the 7th.
March 7th.
Oh, you made me look and
I'm
knew already.
sorry. It's 2 weeks.
That's only 2 weeks.
I think, can we go to the engineer's report?
Absolutely, that's what I was gonna do right now.
I
As
don't
long
wanna
as you could-
forget
I
twice.
was
Are you
done.
finished?
I am done.
Thought you were gonna skip us this time.
You wish.
Who's going first, you or me? All right, go ahead.
Oh, Brian. Oh, you're done. Sit down.
All right. First item, 15th Street. Contractor's going to continue working. Actually, tomorrow, supposed to go out and put in the pads for the conduits, or not pads for the motors. Conduits actually been run, so we're actually getting close on that project.
The fence.
So.
We gotta hook the wires up there for all that.
And one of the older projects in Millville, the roof repair. We were reviewing the warranties. We've actually reviewed those. There were some discrepancies before with the wind speed, so they revised those, so that all matches. So they're actually ready. We're ready to close that out, give them their final payment. High Street project, Phase 1. You'll see a resolution tonight for authorization to advertise. In the report, I had the kind of the schedule for that. We're actually looking to receive bids by the end of March. And that takes you from Depot to Harrison. As far as demolitions with the construction office, there's been a little bit of progress. I think it was a 409, 411 Mulberry Street property. There was final grading done. There was still, there was rough grading done. They still have to do final grading, and there's concrete repairs. So, and a lot of the other properties, there's still a lot of punch list items. There's still work to be done on those.
Hey, Brian,
We weren't.
has the contractor given you a timeline on the punch list?
No, we had a little trouble there with response time, so yeah, I don't have a schedule at this point.
Okay.
Yeah. With the municipal landfill, actually DEP put out, there's a draft permit put out for public comment, and that period finishes up on March 12th. Some of the changes in the permit, they were going to require hydrogen sulfide testing, but the caveat was that, you know, if the levels are below a certain level, that after 4 consecutive quarters, we wouldn't have to do that, because a lot of the testing, I see our VOC testing out there is over several years have been below the required level, and actually DEP is looking to go from quarterly to annual on that. So that's good news there. And as far as the Field of Dreams Trail Park, we held a meeting with construction officials, zoning official, engineering, and the solicitor, just to kind of get a game plan going forward with that project. Engineering, we're going to get a punch list together, updated punch lists, and between construction and zoning, they're going to issue. The letter's being drafted, but they're going to issue a letter to the owner, and that's going to press them for, you know, to finish their punch list items.
Could the city just go in and finish the work?
We do have a bond, so if you acted against the bond, yeah, that's how you would have to go about it.
I mean, how long do you wait for them? It's been 2 years. So how long do you wait for them to do what they're supposed to do? I guess you see what they do with your letter, Brock, and then go from there? Because it's
Well-
obvious to me they're not going to do what they're supposed to be doing.
I mean, you have recourse against the bond. The other recourse that the city has is to, they're outside of their temporary certificate of occupancy.
They were running on Saturday.
Well, I think the city has the right to shut them down if they run.
Yeah, I mean, they run on the weekends, so then you would have to have an employee work on the weekends, et cetera, et cetera. But they've been running, it's on their website, and they were running Saturday.
Or something could be posted on their facility, and then the police could
Shut them down.
show up on the weekend.
I mean, you hate to have to do that too.
Yeah.
To business in town, it'd be nice if they would just cooperate and do what they're supposed to do. They were fully aware. I mean, they've been back before the planning board, I don't know, was it twice they came? I mean, and he stood there and said he was gonna do everything.
Well, I think the idea with the letter is, and maybe they are operating on a shortened schedule because we're in the middle of the winter, but the idea was before their full season opens up, we get this letter to them, which is a composite from all the departments, so that they have an opportunity to get the stuff done before the season starts.
I think the silence is because they've had a lot of opportunity already.
I'm just, what do you want me to say? I mean,
Because then they're gonna be shut down. At that point, they won't be able to open for the season.
And that would be their fault,
Yeah,
no one else's fault.
but it gives them an opportunity to get their ducks in a row so that they know that the city's going to not permit them to operate without a certificate of occupancy.
I wish I could operate on a 2-year duck and row plan. Just me. Okay. So you're gonna be on top of this, Brian, right?
Yes, yep,
Okay.
give you updates.
But hold on, Brian, how many more updates do we need, though?
What's
That's
that?
I mean, how many more updates do we need? They're in violation, am I right?
Yes.
So why isn't it tomorrow that they're notified?
Yeah, I was just
I
gonna
mean,
get a punch list together.
I
An updated
don't know
punch
if
list,
if you
yeah.
wanna do it verbal and then say, hey, a letter is followed up, but, we won't allow anybody else to do this.
I agree.
So we can't,
I agree.
we can't allow them to do it. It's just wrong. So, in my opinion, if we do a verbal first and then followed up, letting them know, hey, the letter's coming, and next thing is you're getting shut down. I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't know what everybody else wants.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree too.
Who should do the notification?
Well, we thought, we had the meeting, we thought the purpose of the letter is so that there's no dispute as to what the problems are that need to be fixed. So there's a list of them.
Right.
So that's out there. I don't see any reason why they could not be shut down now, but I think they need to know that you're not gonna be able to open for your full schedule in the spring with these things.
And that's right around the corner.
Brian, how long is it gonna take to get the letter done?
Or should I just send a zoning officer out there tomorrow, inform them?
Well, they're not, I don't know if they're there during the week.
No.
Oh,
That's
they're
the
not?
problem.
Well, and
How long is it gonna
also,
take to
it's a
get the
little
letter?
complicated as to, is it the construction code official or is it the zoning officer that has the authority? And so the idea that we had was we'd have them both sign off so that there isn't a problem with having the wrong person sign a shutdown.
And have them both present there when they get served.
We'll have them both sign off on
All
that.
right,
That would be
so
better.
I'll have
are you
both.
gonna draft the letter?
Yeah,
Okay.
So
I
can-
just need the punch list from
So
Brian.
can that get done this week?
Yes.
You mean this weekend, right?
What,
Saturday?
today's, well, I'm saying, but he's gotta get the punch list, so if he gets it done this week, then Brock can do the letter, he's waiting for
Okay.
the punch list. Cause they don't serve it in person, correct? What do you do, Brock, send it certified mail?
We may do that. There may need to be, at some point, something's gonna need to be posted at the facility.
Right.
We already have a punch list, though,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, I think Brian already has a punch list prepared,
Right.
so I don't think that's gonna hold up anything from moving forward.
Yeah, just get that to me.
So Brock, why wouldn't we do it in person and also via the mail?
I think we can,
Certified mail, that
Yeah.
way they can't get out of it one way or another, I mean.
but at some point, if they're operating, I would think for the benefit of the police department, if something's posted on their facility that they cannot operate, sort of like a stop work order.
Would
you know,
the
you've
police
got-
department do that, though? I can see the sheriff's department do it on
Right.
order from a judge, but would the police department have the authority to do that? I'm not really sure, I don't know. That's your,
Well, I know whenever I got a stop work order, which was once in a while,
what, at
I
your,
always got it.
at
by
your
the-
home?
No,
Oh.
never mind where.
See,
I always got it
you
by
don't
the-
wanna go there,
I always
see?
got it by the inspector or the zoning officer.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So if we send them a letter, certify, or have our people go out there on Saturday, both of our guys, and back it up with the letter, I don't know.
They're not working on Saturday, so we'd have to have them come in.
Yeah,
I
that's
think,
what I'm
on
saying.
Saturday.
Yeah, but then you're paying, well, depends.
Well, you wanna shut them down or not shut them
Yeah.
down?
I don't know, you have to see if there's
Hopefully, we don't
anybody
have to
there.
shut them down.
Uh,
They
that's
need to
what
do
I'm
what they're
saying.
supposed to do.
But we're sitting here saying they've been operating for 2 years, we haven't done anything, so
Right.
it's our fault.
That's
Yeah,
right.
we talked a lot.
It's our fault.
That's right.
We talked a lot about it.
So you're going
I'm in agreement to shut them down and certify letter and so send whoever you gotta send over there.
Hey, I think, Mayor, I agree with you. Not to open it up, but I remember when we had the facility down at the Crossing Mall, they shut us down overnight.
Right.
Overnight. There was no waiting period. We went to have service, and there was a red tag on the door, don't have services here. I don't think we should give one more day. It's my personal opinion. If I can't do it, then no one else should be able to do it. 2 years is way past time.
I think that's pretty clear, Brian.
And I agree with him.
Next.
All right. We're close to getting the federal eligibility for the TAP funds for the Marsh River Bikeway Trail, Phase 5. The Third Street project, contractor would like to remobilize on the project 27th of this month, pending weather. Vine Street, we had a pre-construction meeting on the 15th. Contractor submitted their insurance certificates and for insurance mints. They reviewed it and it looked acceptable. So we just have to have the city execute the contracts, sign off on those, and they'll submit a construction schedule. And they also did mention, actually, the college mentioned they're going to have a grand opening on March 24th. So the contractor's going to have to determine if he's going to do the work, before that or after that. So there's been some coordination there between the projects. And last meeting, the resolution for 6th Street for the road reconstruction grant. We actually submitted that up to NJDOT as part of the grant requirement, so that's moving forward, and we'll in the DOT's timeframe, we'll hear whether or not we got those grant funds. So that's all I have on that end. I know Wayne's got some updates on the wastewater treatment plant.
Brian, I have one quick
Yeah.
question, real quick. We had talked about a 5-year capital improvement plan some time ago, and I really haven't heard too much more about it, and I'm just kind of curious, where is that plan? Is it still moving, or has it gotten kind of laid by the wayside, or, because I think that would help us a great deal if we would begin to do things.
If I may, Brian, I'll take care of that.
Thank you.
Right now, engineering is a little bit understaffed with Wayne working at the wastewater treatment plant, and the time has been spent on designing the improvements for High Street, for the handicap ramps, as well as 6th Street, the sewer plant, the water upgrades to the pipes, Marlin Terrace, the drainage problems on Rhonda Drive. So that's a little behind from where we'd all like it to be.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks for holding the fort down when I'm not there. First of all, I want to thank all the commissioners. Back in October, the commission decided to allow the wastewater plant to go back to shift coverage, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And those actions actually protected the city from having an overflow this weekend when the main influent pump station failed at the wastewater plant. On Saturday, approximately 1 p.m., the main influent well went down. One of the VFD drives short-circuited and blew out. Because of your actions, there was shift coverage there that allowed us to react quickly. bring a pump back up online. We sent crews out to set up diesel bypass pumps. We actually borrowed a diesel pump from the Land Storage Authority, so we had 2 diesel bypass pumps in addition to one of our own pumps running. We brought in an emergency repair contractor, Deerfield Electric, who responded immediately and sent an electrician, a control electrician to the site, was able to bring all the pumps back online, 2 of them on the drive system and 2 on backup. The diesel pumps are still there in standby mode right now. We're hoping the repairs will be completed by Thursday. So I want to thank the commission for your foresight and bringing those crews and shifts back. It was a big help.
And thank you, Wayne. I know we were people looked at me funny when I mentioned about staffing 24 hours, but it's something that I strongly believe that we needed to do, and I'm glad that we did. After I got that call from you Saturday, I'm glad that we had people there, because that could have gotten into a bad situation. Probably would have cost us more money than what we had.
Yeah, I mean, our wet well, our main pump station is undersized. It's from 1958, and that has to be in our short-term capital improvement to redo the pump station. So right now we're taking a good hard look at that. I want to let you know we also had 2 inspections by DEP enforcement last week on the 16th and 17th. We received a violation notice for fecal coliform exceedance back in July 2016. There was a weekly average of 3,300 coliform units per 100 ml. Our limits are 200 and 400. So we're getting a violation notice. I have it here. I emailed it to Commissioner Ennis. We're also getting a fine. We don't know how much the fine is. It's probably $1,000 is what they said will be the minimum. I'm looking into it, researching, trying to find out exactly what happened. I talked to all the plant staff that was on when that occurred, the operators, the lab technicians. Everybody seems to believe there was some kind of influent variation that took out the biology in the activated sludge system. However, we have no evidence to back that up. Had we had some kind of evidence to substantiate that, we'd have an affirmative defense with the NJDEP. We do not have that kind of information. So I'm still looking back at the data and information to try and ascertain, what exactly happened. It's back in July. I wasn't there at the time, so I'm just going back off the records. But DEP enforcement was there for 2 days last week. He let us know that we're also scheduled to have an EPA inspection of our facility. I've never been present during an EPA inspection. I reached out to some colleagues trying to get information, but it's going to be, I don't want to say forensic, but that level of detail review of our laboratory techniques, our sampling, our reporting, and our operations. My understanding is that the inspection could take up to a week, so I'm trying to get more information on that. The plant's running really well right now. We had an inspection of one of our major industrial users. We're going to be starting to go there on a weekly or bi-weekly basis just to have a good cooperative relationship with the industry. When I worked for the LSA in Violin, that was one of my jobs, to be in charge of industrial pretreatment. And it's important to work together with your industry to make sure you're not hurting each other inadvertently. But the plant's running well. Our last fecal was less than 10. We're reviewing our testing procedures just to make sure that we're not only conforming with our permit requirement, but we're meeting the spirit of the permit, the number of samples and the frequency of the sampling. So I'm going through staff with that right now. I don't think we've done anything wrong, but we just want to make sure that we're testing, and our tests are representative of the actual effluent from the plant. I have the violation notice if anybody would like to see it. Brian, can you give that to the commissioners?
Well, I want to look at a
I
ticket
don't want
for
to
it.
see, it's a bad report card.
Thank
Well,
you. What you're saying is we're paying,
Here's
and $1,000 is the lowest fee.
the drive that blew out and the wet well where men have to work. It's a confined space that needs to be upgraded to make sure our men are safe. You'll see in the well, it's very hard to access I think I showed Commissioner Preca when you were there last time with the well. Phase 2 upgraded wastewater treatment plant. We had our second monthly meeting today, a very productive meeting. We started off first thing this morning, though, with one of our potential change orders, our list here of issues that we're resolving on a daily basis, adding to keeping track of things. The first item on our list was the additional builder's risk insurance. We went through in detail with Mintz Insurance, Bob Connor, and Worth Insurance, their broker. And I want to assure the commission and the entire city of Millville that no project, I repeat, no project ever starts or is issued notice to proceed until insurances are in place. The insurances for wastewater treatment plant phase 2 were in place on December 14th, the day the notice to proceed was issued. A notice to proceed will never be issued without proper insurances. The contractors don't want to work without insurance, and the city doesn't want anybody working without insurance. So I just want to clarify that. The items that we completed this month were demolition of the old Wedeco UV assembly, the UV channels, the controls, the powers, conductors, control cabinets were all demolished. Demolition on the east wall of the solids handling building has been taken care of. Excavation will allow for that demolition. Saw cutting the man doors into the future rotary press room. The solids handling building, the crews are on the top working right now, demolishing concrete chimney assemblies. They've been working on that for over 2 weeks. We completed field measurements for the north and south secondary clarifiers. Next week, Worth has asked that we take our south secondary clarifier out of service. It will be out of service for approximately 5 months, which doesn't sound like anything that important until you think of the fact that our north clarifier recently broke down. We had a structural failure of the mechanism and the wiper assembly, which we repaired and placed it back into service. All 4 clarifiers have not been rebuilt, drives or assemblies, since 1993. We did have a breakdown that the north clarifier is running well. I know past practice, I'm sure the commission's been informed that we've been running on 1 clarifier, which is true. It's not the best thing to do. We did run on 1 clarifier, but we always had the south available in case of a breakdown. Now we're not going to have a backup. So as part of our due diligence, we're looking into rental units. They do have trailer-mounted clarifiers that you can bring on site. We're getting prices just for emergency response mobilization, prices to have 2 units on site, and prices to have all the required units on site in the event of a failure. So once I have the pricing information, I'll bring it forward to the commission to allow you to help me, and we'll make a good decision to move forward on that stuff. Here's the information on the portable clarifiers, just to share it with you. That's all I can come up with quickly.
So Wayne, it's your recommendation that rather than having no clarifier, that we have a portable during this interim?
Well, some type of backup plan and protocol has to be in place, and either we just have an emergency response plan ready to go, which would require us to use maybe the south aeration tank for backup until we could mobilize a portable clarifier. I was hoping to have some cost information before the meeting, but I didn't get it as of the time of the meeting. That's all the work that's been completed. Now, the planned work is to demolish the interior mechanical equipment of the south clarifier, to demolish the grout floor bottom, rip out the bridges and everything, and then to start reconstruction, repairs to concrete. The concrete repairs alone could take 20 days. There's a lot of lengthy, time-sensitive procedures that have to be done on concrete curing, on water leak testing of the equipment, and the list goes on and on. That's how the 5-month time period gets eaten up really quick. A lot of the potential change orders are things that we're going to need to discuss, whether we do it here or have a separate meeting to discuss. not installing certain valves for future use or putting them in. It could take a considerable amount of time, so I don't know how to best address that with the commission. So we'll have to figure out that. There's a lot of items on here. One is the gravity belt thickener relocations. We're asking for a credit from the contractor to not move pieces of equipment from one side of the plant to the other side of the plant. The reasoning was for consolidation of equipment. It was a $320-some-thousand line item. I thought that money would be better spent on rebuilding a primary clarifier that's been online since 1993 when the drives were replaced. The concrete's from 1968. Let's repair an important piece of the infrastructure that we're really going to need for the future. So we're trying to save money doing those kind of things. The 36-inch plug valves that are for future use, we thought that maybe it would be a good idea to not install those valves because we weren't looking at installing disc filters right away in line with our our effluent train, but maybe in the future, maybe in 5 years, we'll want to put those filters in. So maybe we should just leave the valves in. The cost of the valves estimated from AECOM was about $160,000 installed. Contractors' numbers are a lot less, so there'd be a lot of negotiation just to get a fair dollar value for that, credit to the contract. But there's a lot of issues on here like that, and I don't know how do you want me to address them with the commission just to help with the decisions. I don't think this is the right forum to go through every little detail, but I only have the authority to approve change orders by our ordinance up to 5%. Clearly, this will be over 5%, so we're going to have to go through this.
So I think we need to set up a meeting because these details that you're laying out, I believe, are very important. And I don't think, like you said, this is probably not the right setting, but I think we need to have a setting where you can, in depth, go over and get some approval and some understanding as to what needs to happen. So that's what I'm suggesting and recommending to the other commissioners that we do.
Okay.
That would be an open meeting, correct, Brock?
Yeah, and what you could do is perhaps you could have that meeting at 3 o'clock, have it an hour before the work session, and
Okay.
then have an hour.
So we'd have to advertise it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But there's a lot of significant items of high dollar values on here that I want the commission to be fully aware of. And help
So when
make
are
the
we looking to
decisions.
set this meeting up?
Pardon?
When do you want to set this meeting up?
Next week would be good to have one next week if
Can we
possible.
do
Can we do
March
it-
7th?
Yeah, can we do it before the next commission meeting, or you need it done before March 7th?
You said next week.
We could do it before the next commission meeting, but there's some issues that might be time sensitive. I'll let the commission know that if we delay in making decisions, it could impact the contractor's schedule. His construction costs are in excess of $20,000 a day. So we don't want to delay them from their work because then we could be responsible for any of those
So you want
charges.
to do it before the next commission
Yeah,
meeting?
if possible. Now, some of the costs, I don't have all the cost items yet. I do have the cost for the valves. So that's an important decision, and my recommendation is to leave them in at this point because we may need those disc filters in the future. If our sewer flow were to ever increase, the only part of the plant that we're really changing from a performance standpoint is the new UV system. The clarifiers, we're rebuilding them. Their operation, their percentage removal may only change slightly, but the lifespan has increased significantly when you replace them or rebuild them. So the UV is the only part of the system that's really going to enhance our effluent. And if our flows do increase, right now we're still subject to, influent variations. In the future, we're discussing at the plant now, putting the whole plant online, the north and south aeration system. So it's kind of a struggle for operations. They're not used to doing that. They've never done that. They're uncomfortable with it, but I think it's the right thing to do. That way we have a buffer capacity to any kind of flow that comes in. There's other plants that, have flows a little bit higher than ours, that they have gigantic aeration systems, and they're able to manage them. And I think it's something we could do too. But it's going to be hard. It's going to be a lot of hard work to pull it in and fine-tune it.
So next week, starting off on the 27th, and
How about the 28th, next Tuesday, a week from now, 3 p.m.
I'm always available, Commissioner, whenever.
3
Just tell
p.m.
me
next
when.
Tuesday, the 28th.
Fine with me.
Okay,
Everybody else okay?
Okay.
the 28th.
Wayne, can we have hard numbers so we know how it's going to impact purchasing?
Yeah, as soon as I get the numbers, Regina, I'll forward them to you and the commission, so we
Okay.
have them all.
And you'll have them all by that meeting, because we really can't have the meeting without
Right.
them, right?
I've been told by the contractor I'll have numbers by the end of the week. I'll also have numbers from the mobile clarifier company, to provide or, set up, 1 or 2 units on site now. I would recommend we at least have a couple there. Not all the ones we need, but at least have some there, so we're ready to respond. That's all I had, Commissioner. Sorry I got into so much detail, but I thought it was important for you to know.
Absolutely. Thank you, Wayne.
And then I guess there was only one other, I guess, Brock, you're waiting for figures from engineering to complete those ordinance changes, 61-52,
Yeah, and obviously Wayne is
overwork.
busy now, but that's the information concerning the fees
Okay, the
and
fee
whether
structure.
they need to be
Yeah,
increased.
I'll get on it.
I think that probably the sewer
I know,
change orders are more important right now
Correct.
than that.
correct.
And right
It's
now, all
just
the
a
change
few.
orders are credits to the contract.
Got it.
We're hoping to be able to get enough credits to afford to rebuild one of the primary clarifiers.
Excellent. Thank you, Wayne. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you,
Thank you, Wayne, Brian.
thank you.
I'll move on for the next meeting. New business, please.
No, Mayor, there's no new business this evening.
We now open up this meeting to public comment portion. Anyone that would like to address the commission, please come up to the mic, state your name and your concerns, and limit your comments 5 minutes, please. Seeing no one, I close the public portion part of this meeting. Madam Clerk, resolutions?
Yep, we have a resolution authorizing an executive session concerning the following matter. Millville Urban Redevelopment Corporation, possible litigation. I need a motion.
Move the resolution.
Second?
Any comments? So now we'll take
I
a
have to
vote.
do a roll call.
Go ahead.
Commissioner Ennis?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Commissioner Perry?
Yes.
Commissioner Sui?
Yes.
Mayor Santiago?
Yes.
Hey, Wayne, you need this
We'll be
notice of
back.
violation? Get Wayne, will you?